Hi guys, David O'Sullivan here, and it's arrived at my favourite time of the year. The Oscar nominations have come out, and in this video I'm giving you my quick thoughts as far as what I think about the nominees of each category, as well as my predictions as to who I think will win each of the categories. And so let's just get going here. And first up I have Best Picture, and we've got Call Me By Your Name, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Get Out, Lady Bird, Phantom Thread, The Post, The Shape of Water, and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. On the most part, I'm really happy with this. It's not very shocking or surprising. I was surprised to see Get Out take a place in there. And obviously everyone loves Get Out. Everyone's been raving about Get Out. I'm not sure whether it was going to get that Oscar buzz, that love from the Oscars, but it turns out it did. So I'm surprised that Get Out snuck in there. Yeah, not any other big surprises really. I've still yet to see Call Me By Your Name and Lady Bird. I had the opportunity to see those two films back at the London Film Festival in October of last year, and I'm just kicking myself now that I didn't see them. You know, I really regret not seeing them when I had the chance, but yeah, I really want to get around to seeing those movies. And of course, also Phantom Thread, I have not seen either. But for the most part, I've seen all the other films, and yeah, I'd say this is probably between Shape of Water and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. I think if those are the two front runners for me. I think it's between those two. They're also my two favourites as well. Obviously, I love Blade Runner 2049. I wish Blade Runner would have got a place in here. But, you know, Blade Runner wasn't getting that same kind of Oscar buzz as a lot of those other films, so I'm not surprised that Blade Runner didn't get a whole lot of love as far as the major categories are concerned. You know, wasn't that surprising. If it was up to me, I would put Blade Runner in there, but as soon as I accepted the fact that Blade Runner probably wasn't getting a nomination, The Shape of Water and 3 Billboards are my two frontrunners, I think. I mean, it could go to Dunkirk, perhaps, maybe that could sneak in there, maybe Lady Bird, maybe Call Me By Your Name, I don't know, but I think it's probably between The Shape of Water and 3 Billboards. Also The Post, I just saw The Post recently, and I like The Post. I thought it was a solid film, but I probably wouldn't have put The Post in there for Best Picture. And don't get me wrong, I thought it was good, I just don't think it was on that same kind of level as a lot of these other films. I probably would have taken out The Post and put in Blade Runner, or maybe taken out Darkest Hour and put in Blade Runner. Like, Darkest Hour I loved as well, but again, I don't think the film is on that same kind of level as a lot of these other movies that have been nominated, because with Darkest Hour and The Post, I think they were great performance-wise, but I don't think the films themselves were as great as the performances. So I probably would have switched out either Darkest Hour or The Post. If it was up to me, I probably would have switched one of those two out for Blade Runner, perhaps. And also Hostiles. Hostiles is a film that no one is talking about. I'm not surprised it's got zero recognition, because nobody seems to be talking about this film. I don't think anyone's seen it. It's probably flown under the radar for a lot of people. I mean, I think it came out probably a little bit too late for a lot of people to see it and be talking about it, but in my opinion, I would have put up Hostiles for like picture, director, actor. I think it's absolutely fantastic film, so I definitely recommend seeing Hostiles if you haven't already. But I'd say this is probably between Shape of Water and 3 Billboards, although Dunkirk might slip in there. And going on to lead actor now, we've got Timothée Chalamet for Call Me By Your Name, Daniel Day-Lewis for Phantom Thread, Daniel Kaluuya for Get Out, Gary Oldman for Darkest Hour, and Denzel Washington for Roman J. Israel Esquire. And there are a couple of surprises in here. Of course, Daniel Kaluuya for Get Out. I'm surprised that he got a nomination. Not that he's not a good actor, because he's a great actor, and I just didn't think that he was going to get the same kind of Oscar love as like a Daniel Day-Lewis and a Gary Oldman, but it turns out he did. And also Denzel Washington. I haven't seen Roman J. Israel Esquire, but it's not that surprising, because Denzel Washington tends to get a lot of love from these award shows and gets nominated a lot, and apparently he's really great in the movie. Apparently the movie isn't that great, but his performance is, so it's not that surprising, I suppose. But yeah, I think this is probably between Gary Oldman and Timothée Chalamet. I've heard a lot of great things about Timothée Chalamet, but I think it is most likely Gary Oldman's year. I mean, it could go to Daniel Day-Lewis. A lot of the time he gets these awards. I'm not surprised to see him in there for Phantom Thread. Again, I haven't seen Phantom Thread, but not very surprising that he's got a nomination. But I'm rooting for Gary Oldman. I think this is Gary Oldman's year. I think he should get the award. He's yet to get an Oscar, and I think he's just really deserving for his performance in Darkest Hour. So I'm really rooting for Gary Oldman. It could go to Timothée Chalamet, maybe Daniel Day-Lewis, but I'm predicting Gary Oldman for this one. And next up with lead actress, we've got Sally Hawkins for The Shape of Water, Frances McDormand for 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, Margot Robbie for I, Tonya, Saoirse Ronan for Lady Bird, and Meryl Streep for The Post. And yeah, I was pretty much spot on with my predictions for this one. I didn't think Meryl Streep was going to get in there, although, like with Daniel Day-Lewis, Denzel Washington, you know, it's not that surprising, because she is loved by the Academy and she seems to get nominated every single year. I'm not that salty about her nomination, because she was really good in The Post. If it was up to me, I would have taken Meryl Streep out and put Jessica Chastain in there. I didn't think it was going to be 100% guaranteed that Jessica Chastain would get a nomination. I said in my review for Money's Game, I would nominate her. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. Turns out it didn't happen, but if it was up to me, I would have taken out the Academy darling Meryl Streep and put Jessica Chastain in there. Not because Meryl Streep wasn't good, but Jessica Chastain for me, like, made Molly's Game. I mean, the film was good, but it was like her movie. It was a real powerhouse performance from her. She really drove that film and carried that film, and it was a terrific kind of tour de force performance from her. So I would have nominated Jessica Chastain. I mean, it's weird because they did the same kind of thing last year. They put Meryl Streep in there for Florence Foster Jenkins instead of Amy Adams for Arrival. And that really annoyed me because Arrival was nominated for film, director, all these other major awards, but not actress. And I was like, how can you nominate it for film, director, all these other things and not give a nomination to Amy Adams? It's absurd. I mean, either the Academy are biased towards Meryl Streep or they've got something against redheads. I don't know. The same things happened this year. Meryl Streep's snuck in there ahead of Jessica Chastain. Again, not that surprising. You know, Meryl Streep always seems to get nominated no matter what she does. And she was good in the movie, but, you know, if it was up to me, I would have put Jessica Chastain in there for Molly's Game. But other than that, this is pretty much how I predicted it would go. You know, Sally Hawkins, Frances McDormand, Margot Robbie, Saoirse Ronan. That's not very surprising. I think it's probably between, and I've said this ever since I reviewed the films, I think it's a two-horse race between Sally Hawkins and Frances McDormand. I think they were the two best lead female performances of the year. It's a really tough one to call. It could go either way. I probably lean slightly more towards Sally Hawkins because although Frances McDormand was absolutely fantastic in 3 Billboards, what Sally Hawkins did in Shape of Water was remarkable because a great performance is one thing, but delivering a great performance without even saying a single word is something else. And it was really quite remarkable how she was able to do such a fantastic job with that character in that movie, despite the fact that she doesn't even say anything. So I'd probably lean more towards Sally Hawkins, but it could so easily go to Frances McDormand for 3 Billboards also. She's been getting a lot of love this award season, so I wouldn't be surprised if she nabs it. And then supporting actor got Willem Dafoe for The Florida Project, Woody Harrelson for 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, Richard Jenkins for The Shape of Water, I'm really happy to see that one in there, Christopher Plummer for All the Money in the World, and Sam Rockwell for 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Well, first off, I've got to defend Christopher Plummer here because he's going to be getting a lot of hate and people say, oh, the only reason he's been nominated is because they're trying to make a statement of the fact that he replaced Kevin Spacey and, you know, that's why we're nominating him. I don't think that. I've got to admit, I did think that before I saw All the Money in the World, but after I saw All the Money in the World, I do think he's deserving of a Best Supporting Actor nomination. I even said that in my review, because I liked the film, but for me, by far the best parts of the movie were the Christopher Plummer scenes. For me, him and his presence as an actor really helped to elevate that film. For me, I don't think All the Money in the World would have been anywhere nearly as good as it was if Christopher Plummer wasn't in there. For me, him and his scenes elevated the film, and I think he was actually the best part of All the Money in the World. So I'm not salty about him getting nominated at all. I think he actually really deserved it because, like I said, it wasn't just a great performance from him. He actually elevated the material and actually made the film better. And I don't think it would have been as good if he wasn't in there. So I'm perfectly happy with the Christopher Plummer nomination. I would have put him in there. The other ones aren't so surprising. Willem Dafoe, Woody Harrelson and Sam Rockwell for 3 Billboards. And Richard Jenkins, I'm really pleased Richard Jenkins snuck in there. I've got to admit, I wouldn't have thought of him as a Best Supporting Actor when I first saw The Shape of Water, but I saw it again for a second time quite recently, and he really stood out a whole lot more the second time round, and I really liked his performance and what they did with his character, so I'm really glad Richard Jenkins snuck in there for The Shape of Water. I think this is probably between Willem Dafoe and Sam Rockwell though. I really hope Sam Rockwell gets it because I think he was just absolutely fantastic in 3 Billboards. He was almost as good, if not better, than Frances McDormand. He almost stole that movie. He was absolutely terrific. You know, the back and forth between him and Frances McDormand in that movie was great. And although Woody Harrelson was really great in the movie as well, if you've seen the film, you know that Sam Rockwell has a much bigger part. Woody Harrelson is actually not in the film a whole lot, and Sam Rockwell is actually in the entire movie and has a much bigger part to play in the story. So I hope it does go for Sam Rockwell because I absolutely love him. I think he's a fantastic actor, but it could easily go to Willem Dafoe because he's been getting a lot of love and a lot of recognition for the Florida Project, and the Florida Project hasn't gotten a whole ton of nominations, but it could easily go to Willem Dafoe, although I'm rooting for Sam Rockwell. We didn't get a nomination for Patrick Stewart for Logan, which, yeah, I'm not that angry about, but I probably would have put him in there if it was up to me. And also, something that no one seems to be talking about is Will Poulter for Detroit. I would argue that was even a bigger snub than Patrick Stewart. I think it's probably because Detroit came out back in the summer, and the film itself wasn't that amazing. I think a lot of people just kind of forgot about it, but I would have definitely nominated Will Poulter for Detroit. I think he was absolutely amazing in that movie, a really powerful performance. He really kind of blew the roof off in that film, and I would have definitely nominated him for Best Supporting Actor for what he did in Detroit. But yeah, I think even if he was nominated, even if Patrick Stewart was nominated, I think it is still between probably William Dafoe and Sam Rockwell. And next up I got Supporting Actress, and Mary J. Blige for Mudbound, Alison Janney for I, Tonya, Leslie Manville for Phantom Thread, Laurie Metcalf for Lady Bird, and Octavia Spencer for The Shape of Water. I'm really glad Octavia Spencer got a nomination for The Shape of Water. I would have nominated her because I thought she was really great in that movie. I haven't seen any of these other movies, you know, I, Tonya, Phantom Thread, Lady Bird. I'm going to be seeing them all very soon, but again, that's not very surprising, and I think, again, it's a two-horse race between Laurie Metcalf for Lady Bird and Alison Janney for I, Tonya. I've been seeing a lot of love for both of those two nominees. I think it could go either way, you know, Lady Bird or I, Tonya. I'd probably lean more towards Alison Janney for I, Tonya, because as far as I'm aware, it's a little bit more of a transformative performance. You know, she looks a whole lot different in the movie, but it could go to Laurie Metcalf for Lady Bird, but I think it's probably between those two, probably giving a slight edge to Alison Janney. And director, we got Christopher Nolan for Dunkirk, Jordan Peele for Get Out, Greta Gerwig for Lady Bird, Paul Thomas Anderson for Phantom Thread, and Guillermo del Toro for The Shape of Water. And this is a really nice, eclectic kind of mix of different directors here. You know, obviously we've got Nolan getting his first directing nomination. I mean, finally, in my opinion, he should have won multiple times by now, but it's only his first Oscar nomination for director. I don't think he's got a chance of winning it. Maybe, but at least he got nominated. At least he's finally getting the recognition he deserves. Also, Jordan Peele getting in there for Get Out. That was a surprise, but I'm glad he's got the recognition as well. And Greta Gerwig for Lady Bird. Finally, we got a female director nominated, because there weren't any female directors in the BAFTAs Best Director nominations, but Greta Gerwig getting one there for Lady Bird. Paul Thomas Anderson for Phantom Thread is kind of surprising, because I haven't been seeing that get a lot of love as far as directorial wise, but again, Phantom Thread has gotten quite a few other nominations here, so I suppose it isn't that surprising. And of course, Guillermo del Toro for The Shape of Water. If you know anything about me, if you know anything about my thoughts on The Shape of Water, that's definitely the one that I'm rooting for. I mean, with Blade Runner aside, The Shape of Water is the #1 film that I'm rooting for most this Oscars. Also, the Three Billboards I loved as well, which is odd actually, because Martin McDonagh for Three Billboards wasn't nominated, so that's probably the Academy subtly hinting, you know, saying that they're going to give it to Guillermo. Maybe they'll give Shape of Water to director and Three Billboards for Best Picture, and split it between the two, like they did last year with La La Land and Moonlight, with La La Land getting director and Moonlight getting Best Picture. Maybe that'll happen this year, and Guillermo will get it for director and Three Billboards will get it for Best Picture. I don't know, but I'm kind of rooting for The Shape of Water, and I'm really hoping this is Guillermo's year. I think it's his award to lose. It could go to Christopher Nolan for Dunkirk, but seeing as this is his first nomination, I'm not sure it will go to him. I think this is Guillermo's year, and I'm really hoping he gets it here for The Shape of Water. In my opinion, he should have won Best Picture and Best Director for Pan's Labyrinth, so I'm really hoping he finally gets the recognition he deserves this year with The Shape of Water. So I'm rooting for Guillermo del Toro, but it might go to Christopher Nolan. And next up, we've got Best Animated Feature here. We've got The Boss Baby, The Breadwinner, Coco, Ferdinand, and Loving Vincent. Yeah, not much else to say here. It wasn't a great year for animation as far as American animation is concerned. Coco is obviously the clear winner. It's not going to be anything else other than Coco. Kind of a bit of a pointless category of this, because we all know it's going to be Coco. If it was up to me, I would have put some anime in here. I would have put In This Corner of the World, Silent Voice. I think The Red Turtle was nominated last year, so I don't know if that counts. But yeah, as far as American animation is concerned, there wasn't a whole lot of great films, although the Lego Batman movie was very oddly snubbed. In a year where there wasn't that many great American animated movies, the fact that the Lego Batman movie didn't get a nomination is very weird, because the same thing happened with the Lego movie. That got snubbed, and that was more understandable in a way, because there were great animated movies, but this year there wasn't hardly any great American animated movies, so the fact that they snubbed one of the only good ones kind of makes no sense. I'm not sure why Lego Batman movie's not in there. I don't know what the Academy have against Lego movies. Kind of a bit weird there, but it's going to be a Coco. It's obviously going to be Coco. Next up, adapted screenplay, we got Call Me By Your Name, The Disaster Artist, Logan, Molly's Game and Mudbound. Logan actually got a nomination. When I was watching the live announcement, I was thinking, well, as soon as adapted screenplay came up, I was like, you know, this is the one where Logan's got a shot. And then it was announced. I was like, whoa, I knew it had a shot. I didn't think they were actually going to announce it. So yeah, Logan, Best Adapted Screenplay. And I think people are underestimating how huge this is to comic book movies. You could say, oh, that's just one little award, that's it. But no, it's Best Adapted Screenplay. That is pretty big. I mean, never before has a comic book movie ever been nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay. I mean, never before, other than Heath Ledger for Best Supporting Actor for The Dark Knight, has a comic book movie ever been nominated for a non-technical award at the Oscars until now. The very first adapted screenplay nomination for a comic book movie. So that is pretty big, and I think this is a real huge step forward for comic book movies as far as getting accolades and recognition as far as the Oscars are concerned. Granted, it's just an adapted screenplay and that's it, nothing else, but still, this is a real big step forward. And I think we're on our first step on the way to comic book movies getting more recognition and more accolades as far as the Oscars are concerned, because adapted screenplay, first time a comic book movie has ever been nominated for adapted screenplay at the Oscars, that is pretty big, so I'm really happy with that. It's probably going to be, I mean, I think the writing of Molly's Game was terrific, but it's probably going to be Call Me By Your Name, maybe The Disaster Artist, maybe Molly's Game. I don't know, that's a tough one to call. Probably Call Me By Your Name or Molly's Game, I would say. An original screenplay, we've got The Big Sick, Get Out, Lady Bird, The Shape of Water, and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Obviously, Get Out getting another nomination, and very pleasantly surprised to see The Big Sick get in there. I mean, I think that was the only nomination it got, so I was really happy to see that get nominated. That kind of came out of left field. I mean, I probably would have nominated for a few more awards. I would have probably nominated Holly Hunter for Best Supporting Actress as well. I mean, it was a very tough year as far as getting nominations for acting is concerned, but I'm really glad it got nominated for Best Original Screenplay. I thought they were going to just completely ignore The Big Stick and forget about it altogether, because, you know, like Detroit, it came out back in the summer, and a lot of people, I think, have forgotten about those movies, but I'm really glad it got a nomination there for screenplay. And then cinematography, Blade Runner 2049, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Mudbound, and The Shape of Water. And this has to go to Blade Runner 2049. I mean, all the other nominees are really deserving as well, but if you know what I think about Blade Runner and Roger Deakins and his work that both he and Denis Villeneuve did in that film, it has to at least get cinematography. If Blade Runner 2049 doesn't win cinematography at least, I'm going to be so annoyed. I mean, these other films are deserving, and actually Mudbound, Rachel Morrison, I think is the first ever woman to be nominated for cinematography, which is kind of insane. It's crazy to think about it. A woman has never been nominated for Best Cinematography before at the Oscars, but I'm rooting for Blade Runner. I think this is Roger Deakins' year. He's never won before, which is kind of insane. And if Blade Runner 2049 doesn't win him his first Oscar, I don't know what will. And film editing, I've got Baby Driver, Dunkirk, I, Tonya, The Shape of Water, and 3 Billboards. And I'm really glad Baby Driver got nominated there, because Baby Driver had to at least get nominated for sound and editing, because it was just remarkable. It was absolutely spectacular as far as the editing and the sound design and sound mixing is concerned, so I'm really glad it got nominated for editing. I don't think it's got a shot of winning. It's probably going to be between Shape of Water and Dunkirk. I'd probably give the edge to Dunkirk, because that was a really well edited movie, and yeah, I'll be surprised if it's not Dunkirk. And coming down to the last few categories here, for original score we've got Dunkirk, Phantom Thread, The Shape of Water, Star Wars: The Last Jedi, and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Star Wars: The Last Jedi, I didn't think was going to get in there, but then it is John Williams, and the Academy do love John Williams, so I suppose it isn't very surprising. I would have nominated Blade Runner. I'm really quite annoyed that Blade Runner didn't get a nomination for score, and also War for Planet of the Apes. I think the score for War for Planet of the Apes was really great. I think both War for Planet of the Apes and most notably Blade Runner were snubbed quite a bit for a lot of these categories. But that being said, it's probably going to go to either The Shape of Water or Dunkirk. I think the score for Dunkirk and The Shape of Water are both very atmospheric, and they both kind of enhanced kind of the visuals on screen. So I think it'll go either way, either Hans Zimmer for Dunkirk or Alexandre Desplat for The Shape of Water. I love the score for The Shape of Water, along with Blade Runner. It was my favourite score of the year, so I think it's between Dunkirk and The Shape of Water. It could go either way, I think. And for original song, I've got Mighty River from Mudbound, Mystery of Love from Call Me By Your Name, Remember Me from Coco, Stand Up For Something from Marshall, and This Is Me from The Greatest Showman. Again, I think it's probably between Remember Me and This Is Me, and I love both of them. I won't be upset whichever way it goes. I'm probably leaning more towards Remember Me from Coco, although I did love This Is Me from The Greatest Showman, and I think I would not be upset if that wins. Greatest Showman was a film that kind of split critics and audiences down the middle. I didn't get a chance to put a review up for it. A lot of people loved it, a lot of people hated it. I loved the film. You know, it wasn't like one of the best ones I've ever seen. It wasn't one of the best songs of last year, but I actually really enjoyed The Greatest Showman, and it really resonated with me, and I had a really great time. And I will not be disappointed if The Greatest Showman wins this for This Is Me, but I think it's probably between either Remember Me for Coco or This Is Me for The Greatest Showman. I think it'll go to either one of those two. And finally here for visual effects, we've got Blade Runner 2049, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Kong Skull Island, Star Wars The Last Jedi, and War of the Planet of the Apes. I didn't think Kong Skull Island was going to get in there. That kind of came a bit out of left field. I mean, the visual effects weren't bad in that movie, but I don't think it had some of the best CGI and visual effects of the year. The creatures in King Kong didn't look that realistic, but that being said, it was cool to see Guardians get in there, because the visual effects, no matter what you think about Guardians, I mean, from a visual and technical standpoint, the film just looks spectacular. I think it's probably between Blade Runner and War of the Planet of the Apes. I hope War of the Planet of the Apes gets this. I love Blade Runner, but if War of the Planet of the Apes doesn't win for at least visual effects, I mean, thank God it got nominated, but every year it seems to lose out. Each Apes film seems to have lost out to another big movie, and I just hope that it wins, because this is the best the CGI has ever looked. They look like real apes in the movie. So if War of the Planet of the Apes doesn't win at least visual effects, I'm going to be really annoyed. So I'm really rooting for War of the Planet of the Apes, but it could go to Blade Runner 2049, I don't know, or maybe it'll go to Star Wars The Last Jedi, but I'm really holding out hope War of the Planet of the Apes will get it, because it really deserves it. And there we have it. That wraps up my reaction to the 2018 Oscar nominations. I skipped over a few categories, but I talked about the majority of them there. Those are my thoughts and my predictions for who I think will win in each of those categories. So what do you guys think? What are your thoughts on this year's Oscar nominations? Do you think there were any major snubs? Do you think it was actually pretty good and pretty fair? Are you really happy with how the nominations turned out? Or were there some films that you think really should have been nominated? I mean, I saw something earlier this morning about, oh, Disaster Artist and Wonder Woman were major snubs. I don't think so. I mean, I loved James Franco in The Disaster Artist. I don't know if it was an Oscar-worthy performance though, and the same with Wonder Woman. I love Wonder Woman, but it wasn't like an Oscar-caliber film. I don't know if there were snubs. For me, the biggest snubs were probably Jessica Chastain from On His Game. Also Hostiles, I wish I'd gotten some love, but you know, nobody seems to be talking about that, so it's not surprising. Also, I kind of wish Blade Runner 2049 had got a lot more love in some of the major categories there. You know, Denis Villeneuve not getting nominated for directing is really quite annoying, because I think he got nominated last year for Arrival, so I don't know why he didn't get nominated this year for Blade Runner, because he got a directing nomination for Blade Runner with the BAFTAs, but not with the Oscars. But again, it's cool to see Jordan Peele and Greta Gerwig in there. It's cool to see the very first female nominee for cinematography, and even though there were some things like, you know, Will Poulter, Patrick Stewart, Jessica Chastain, some names that I wish I'd seen in here, I'm not annoyed with the ones they went with. It's like, even though there were some people and some films that I wish I'd gotten some love, I still really like the ones they actually went with, so I can't get too angry and too annoyed, because even though there were some names and were some films that I would have put in here myself, I'm still very happy with the ones they did go with. You know, it's not as if there weren't any ones chosen that I really didn't like. I probably would have swapped out The Post perhaps for Blade Runner, maybe, but other than that, I'm actually really happy with these nominations. There are a few names here that I wish had sneaked in, but for the most part, I think it was actually really great, and I actually thought this was actually a really good year as far as nominations are concerned. And also, the little announcement show with Andy Serkis and Tiffany Haddish, I actually really enjoyed that. You know, there was a few little flubs on Tiffany Haddish's part, but it was actually quite entertaining to watch. It wasn't just some boring thing listening to people read out the nominations. I like those little videos they did, you know, introducing each category. That was kind of a little cool. It was like a little show in its own right. But yeah, so I enjoyed that. So what do you guys think about this year's Oscar nominations? Did you love them? Did you hate them? Did you think it was really great? Did you think there were some major snubs? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, if you like this and you haven't already, be sure to click subscribe to see more. If you missed my last review, be sure to go and click over here to catch up on my last review, or perhaps down here to catch up on one of my recent videos. But with that said, I've been David O'Sullivan. I'll see you next time.